Hey everyone, we're gonna take a self-portrait today. I'm obviously gonna break down all the intricate lighting and all the different decisions I made to shoot a shot like this, but most importantly, we're gonna talk about the story and why I think it's important for you to take self-portraits throughout your career. Let's get into it. First and foremost, a selfie like this, so to speak, has always been a way for me to just express myself and show off some of the new techniques that I may have learned, either from editing or lighting or shooting or whatever it may be. And yeah, if I go back, I can probably deep dive and pull up some examples of just new lighting things that I had picked up, or just, oh, I wanted to shoot something that looks like this, or something that emulates something that I had already seen. Now I'm starting to think of, what story am I trying to tell? What am I trying to prove in my photography while still, you know, sharing a story about who I am. For this shot specifically, I love that it's a mixture of the product and portrait work that I do so often, or at least what has molded me to who I am today, or what kind of photographer I am today. I shot portraits for a good solid 7 or 8 years before I did this switch into food and product. And I think this shot specifically kind of showcases that in of itself, because the fact that there's an apple in there, and not just only an apple, but it's a candy apple, makes it quite difficult to shoot. Very technical image to shoot, because it's basically like having the back end of a spoon facing right back at the camera. There's a lot of things going on, and they're all reflective, and you want them to be pretty flattering. So for this shot, yeah, there's a lot going on with the lighting, but again, for me, it's just about, look at this shot that I took, or look at how well I lit this apple, and can you tell what kind of shooting I like to do just from looking at this photo of me? Or can you tell what kind of photographer I am from just looking at this photo? I want it to be a little bit silly. I'm not, you know, afraid to look stupid or to be the end of a joke, or to, you know, I'm not afraid to put myself out there. And I think doing an image with a little bit of a sillier concept helps portray that. I also want it to give emotion, or give reaction to anyone who looks at it, not just other photographers. Oftentimes when I was first starting out, I was focusing so much on the Rembrandt lighting or the whatever type of lighting scenario, and I basically am just showing off for other photographers. Whereas with a silly concept like this, anyone can laugh at it, anyone can be amused by it, and I think that's kind of the point. It might not sound super ideal because you're still kind of far, but at least we'll get a little bit of a shot here. I look stoned as shit. I mean, we do want these to be accurate representations of who we are, but you know. All right, Sergio, open your eyes. Eee, too much. I think I looked down. Yeah, I looked down before. See, this is why I was saying in the portraits video from a few weeks ago that you don't want your model to be looking at themselves, because they'll be looking during the shot. God damn it. I'm making rookie mistakes here. Straight up cross-eyed. Yes. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. My main focus for this really was just to light the apple, because I knew if the apple was well lit, then I was going to be well lit, because that's kind of what was a lot more difficult to shoot. So basically how I've got it set up is just the curtain to the left. It's giving us a little bit more contrast. It's got that negative fill, kind of, so to speak. So by lighting it this way into that direction and cutting it out this way, I'm removing any bounce that would be happening in my studio, and just giving it a little bit more contrast, a little bit more depth in the image, or a little bit more 3D-ness in my face. The way I've got it lit, let's say, I've got a fill light here that's the Photech Large. I've got it set up as an octabox, and I've got it feathered away from me so that it's like a few feet in front of me, and the very tip of the umbrella essentially is feathered right in front of my face. So it's kind of doing, if you see here, let me try to move around here. So if we look over here, the tip of the umbrella is basically right where the apple is starting. So that gives us like a nice, just really feathered edge where my face is going to be, so that I get a nice even light. So I think if I pull up, I'll pull up the fill light only shot here just on the screen, just so you guys get an idea of what I'm talking about. And that's just the fill, that's just giving us a nice even, just, you know, it's basically a shadow slider in real time. One of the reasons I think you really benefit from shooting selfies like this and taking self-portraits is that there's no one around you. There's nobody telling you what to do. There's nobody, you know, giving you a deadline, or there's no one's money at stake or anything. So just have fun with it and do whatever it is that your mind tells you to do. And it's a great way to practice, and it's a great way to just evolve as a photographer. Try out new things that you haven't really practiced yet, or things that you don't want to do in front of a client just yet, or you can try them out at home by yourself in your room, you know? So this is a way to just kind of keep shooting and keep yourself busy, keep practicing that craft, and maybe work on some storytelling aspects, all while, you know, doing it all alone by yourself. All right, so speaking of lighting and new things and trying out different things, let's just kind of break down what it is that this shot was, because there's a very reflective candy apple right here, and that is going to show everything that's around it. So I have to be very mindful of all the lights and all of the reflections and everything that's happening in the shot. Let's walk you through it. My main light is through a Mola Demi, which is a beauty dish with a white interior. And I forgot to mention, but the Photech also has a white interior. So both of them are giving me a both of them are giving me, you know, no specularity on my face, and it should be giving me a nice, soft, white highlight. Having just the beauty dish and the white scrim that's in front of it, or like, not the scrim, but the sock. So just the sock and the beauty dish. I'll show up the image that came up on screen right now. You can see in the apple where both of these lights are and how they're affecting the image, and to me, I didn't really want that. I want it to be a little bit more of a, I hate the word mystery, but let's say mystery. I don't want you to be able to tell that, oh, there's obviously a beauty dish to camera left, and that's how they lit this shot. So what I did to counteract that, I added this extra layer of scrim. So I added this half stop scrim here, and I just kind of placed it so that both of the lights have to go through the scrim before they affect the subject, which is either me or the apple. And it worked out pretty good. I think it worked out really nicely at evening out the shadow. Now I know it's not totally perfect, but we're gonna take care of the rest of that in Photoshop, and I'll do that in another episode for you guys. But I think I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. The image is very neat and kind of shows the story that I was trying to tell. So I mentioned that this shot was tilted forward, and the reason I did this is so that I could be standing with the apple and try to have the focus plane kind of go like this to make sure that the apple is super sharp, and so are my eyes, but everything else can not necessarily fade to the background, but just make sure that the middle or the main part of the focus is really my eyes and the apple. Make sure that everything is really sharp, really has a really intense depth of field. Even if you're shooting at f11 or f16, when you're real tight, when you're shooting real close, if there's an apple in front of you, that apple's going to be out of focus if you're in focus, or vice versa. So by using a tilt shift lens like this and tilting that focus, bringing that focus plane from this to like this, now I'm able to make sure that my eyes are in focus and the apple that's right in front of me also in focus. That's why I did this. When was your last self-portrait? When was the last time you guys shot something like this? I'm very curious to know, because it's something I do probably every 6 months, every year or so, but that's because it takes me all of this to just take a damn selfie. So let me know what your schedule is, if you ever take a picture, or if you're I'm behind the lens for a reason. Let me know, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Later.